Hey YouTube friends, when my white princess put out this absolutely amazing half moon variegation, I just knew that I had to make this video for you. And I decided that this video can just be all about variegation. Let's spend approximately 30 minutes checking out some of the beautiful variegated plants in my collection. And I thought not only let's look at some pretty leaves, but what a great opportunity to talk about the different types of variegation that there are around plants, because I don't know about you, but just understanding when I'm buying a stable or a non-stable variegated plant, it just gives me peace of mind, I guess. We're just going to talk about the three main types of variegation today. And I've also made sure that I've got plants within each category to show you so that we can have a hands-on look at my collection and I can show you the different types of variegation that there are. So if that sounds like you and your middle name may or may not be variegated, just like I jokingly say that mine is, then stick around and let's check out some colourful leaves in my collection.
Just quickly, if we haven't met before, hey, I'm Mel. After some medical complications a few years ago, I found myself needing to retire from a career that I absolutely love. However, fast forward to today and I'm proud plant mum to over 150 plants. This channel is all about bringing you along on my planting journey, mistakes and all, and hopefully giving you a bucket load of tips and tricks along the way so that you can bring some more greenery and calm into your home as well. So grab yourself a warm drink, get comfy, and let's talk about plants.
I've actually written myself some notes for this video, guys, because otherwise, who knows what sort of tangent I might go off on. I've got about 20 plants surrounding me, but I think it's really important that I make sure that I pick a few from each of the categories, just so you can get an idea of the different types of variegation. The problem is going to be for me, I'm just loving on all of my colourful leaves at the moment. I'm really appreciating that we are in the middle of winter, and yet I'm still getting some beautiful coloured leaves in my collection. And definitely the grow lights that I have scattered through my house are certainly helping with that. Looking at the different types of variegation, let's start with unstable variegation. I know I showed you this in the introduction, but let me just show it to you one more time, because this leaf, I couldn't believe it. This is the second one of these half moons that this plant has thrown out. It's also thrown out a pure white leaf as well, which it doesn't have any chlorophyll in it. It really didn't last for very long, but was absolutely stunning. For anyone who's heard this story, I apologize in advance. So my mum got me this plant for my birthday 2 or 3 birthdays ago now, and it came with some sort of fungus. I can't remember. It was some sort of black spot fungus. So I was never happy. I cut it into 3. I lost one of them completely. I think this is the top cut and this is the middle cut. And the other thing that fascinates me, remembering that this is unstable variegation. So the top cut, look at the leaves, they're just green and their variegation is very pronounced, would you say? Whereas the mid cut, check out the mottly variegation. They're less full green, I guess, and there's a lot more mottliness. Is that even a word? And it just fascinates me that this literally came off the same plant, and growing them side by side like this, it just feels like such a contrast. It really is just such a great example of that random or unstable variegation, having those two parts of the plant growing in the one pot. So let's make sure I don't forget anything here. So chimeric variegation. So different parts of the plant contain different genetic instructions. So it's not encoded into the DNA of the plant. So it is unstable and unpredictable because it's only part of the plant that have the variegation. So whenever I'm buying a plant that's unstable, I just keep that in mind, I guess, when I'm looking at the price of a plant, but also when I'm caring for a plant that has that unstable variegation, not feeling like a complete failure if they do actually revert back to their all green color. What I'll do is I'll keep talking about unstable variegation for a little bit by showing you guys a few more types of unstable variegation, but that is definitely one. Pink Princess is right up there with this guy as well. For anyone who's owned one, they are definitely inclined to revert if they're not happy. And I've told you this story so many times before, but I had a Syngonian fantasy, and that was my first unstable variegated plant that I had dealt with, and it just started turning green. I'd had it for 12 months. It had beautiful variegation. The vines are really long. It was in my ensuite under the Soltec grow lights, getting extra humidity. And then it just started growing an all green vine, and it sort of went downhill from there. Not saying I'm the perfect plant parent. I potentially was doing something wrong. And when I've shown you a few more plants, because you're probably sick of looking at this one right now, we'll talk a little bit about what you can do if these guys start reverting on you as well. Another one of my plants that has a chimeric variegation, so the unstable variegation. I've got an established one of these, but it's actually so big now. When I do a bit of a mini plant tour and plant update video, I must show you. I've just not all put it in the ensuite, and it's starting to grow along the wall. And I'm really loving the way it's looking. So this is a little propagation. Look at the color of these leaves. So this is a Philodendron Brazil for anyone who hasn't seen one. I have a few little propagations around the house and then my big parent plant. And to date, I haven't had any revert on me. So I probably have my parent plant for a good 2 or 3 years now. Let's just say these newer leaves started reverting on me. So they started coming out green or with a lot less variegation. I would cut off the bit of the vine that's actually starting to revert, and I would keep the bit of the plant that is variegated. What I did wrong with the fantasy, it was just when I was starting Plant Club and I saw it reverting and I thought I'm going to let it keep going. Did I say earlier in the video that it's called reverting when it starts going back to all green? I think I did say that. I let the all green vine just grow and grow because I really wanted to show the ladies at Plant Club what could happen. And I think I just let the all green part grow for way too long before I cut it off. But definitely, if you start seeing a variegated plant revert back to all green, you just cut the bit off that's all green and keep cutting and propagating from the bit that's got the color. And then hopefully, because you're propagating from the bit that's still colored, you're going to be able to keep that color. The other thing, if your plant starts reverting, just doing a bit of a sense check of, oh, okay, so what growing conditions does this plant like? Going back to its origins, am I close to that? Has something changed recently? Trying to think through if I changed my fertilizing routine, if I changed my watering routine. Trying to go through ideas of, is there anything that could be upsetting this plant? So let's have a look at my Alocasia Friday, because you guys probably could have guessed, anytime I get to show this guy off, I'm going to show it off. I can't help myself. I'm so sorry. It's just beautiful. And I have to say, when this plant arrived, I was a little bit nervous because the two main leaves that I had were more like that. See how much white that leaf has? Or cream white. It's pretty white. The camera doesn't really do it justice. Firstly, variegation just means a plant has a different color other than green. So it could be white, it could be pink. I found out when I was researching, of course, that there are some exceptions to the rule. If you're seeing white on a leaf, it's lack of chlorophyll. So chlorophyll, for anyone who was listening in science class, is a part of the plant that helps with the photosynthesis. I think of chlorophyll as the little solar panels for a plant. So it's the bit that helps absorb the light and processes the energy from the light into food for the plant. The leaves that have less green actually have less chlorophyll and just can't contribute as much to the health of the plant and the growth of the plant as an all green leaf. So hence, like I was saying with the Brazil, if a plant feels not as happy, if something's not right for it, and then it is more tempted to go back into survival mode because it's like, oh my goodness, I need all the energy. I need to maximize my energy. And the easiest way to do that is to get as much green in my leaf as possible. And I guess that's why half moon leaves and all white leaves or all pink leaves are just so special, because they don't contribute very much, like basically nothing to the plant at all. The other leaves are having to do all the work. But genetically, what a cool thing for a plant to throw out. You just know that they're not going to have as long a life as a leaf with much more green. So very likely, this leaf is doing much more work towards supporting the plant than this leaf is. Although I have to say, this leaf is spectacular. Looking at the plants behind you, I think I want to show you two more Chimeric variegated plants, and then we're going to go on to the stable plants. I feel like I haven't shown you guys this plant for a long time, since I got it at the Brisbane Plant Expo. Have I had it for 12 months? I think it has been 12 months now. It's grown, but it's very slow. So this is my white ghost Euphorbia. It was a wish list plant for so long. Look at that. I think from memory, when I got it, it was here. I've got to be careful. I'm trying to look at the camera and I'm probably going to spark myself. So it was about here. So it has grown, I guess, that much since I got it. It came with a second little shoot as well, which it has actually rooted really well in there. I've got these little other succulents in here that I can't wait to sort of grow down and flow down the front of the pot. This just breaks so many rules because it is so variegated. You know, it's got the slightest bits of green through it. By all accounts, according to the internet, they graft these onto a greener variety. Otherwise, they just wouldn't survive at all. But I didn't do any further research on that. I thought this is a good example to talk about the care of variegated plants. So if you think lighter without the green means less chlorophyll, so it can't absorb as much light, so it can't produce food as much. So therefore, you need to put them in a higher light location to give them the best chance to absorb the most amount of light. But at the same time, the lack of green makes them more susceptible to their ends getting crispy, getting burnt. I felt that really strongly, particularly with this guy, because Euphorbias like light. So I'm like, okay, Euphorbias like light. This guy's variegated, so it needs more light. But at the same time, I know if I put them in the hot midday sun, they're just going to scorch. So it felt like a real balance getting this guy right. But I feel like because it has grown this much since I got it, it might be in its happy place on the TV cabinet. We shall see. And if you've watched any of my recent videos, you probably called it. I couldn't do a variegated video and not show you some of my Epipremnum because, wow, I've said it before, Epipremnum are really having a moment in my collection at the moment. I am just loving on Epipremnums. I can't remember. I may have purchased this one. My original Golden Pothos, but all of my others have just been propagations through friends and through Plant Club. I mean, look at the color. There's just so many cool colors in Epipremnums. So many varieties, so many different types. Just love it. one more. This is the guy that I keep showing you constantly. There's there might even be 3 different Epipremnums in here. They were tiny little clippings from Plant Club. But the one I specifically wanted to show you is this one. Wow. The colours on some of these leaves, it just feels like art. I don't know. What do you think? There's another half moon. It feels like art to me. There's another one. I just get so excited when these plants leaves unfurl. The parent of this guy is quite big now. It's out on my back patio and it's trailing down that antique ladder that I've got out there, the ladder stand that I've got out there. It originally used to live somewhere inside. And as it got really long, the tendrils, of course, were getting further and further away from the light. And when it got to about down here, it started reverting. So that's where this clipping came from, because I thought, oh no, there's no queen starting to revert. I can't let it fully revert like I did with the fantasy. I took some clippings of the variegated bit and you can see it's just growing. The colors are just lovely again. And I completely cut off the vine that had started going all green. And I'm happy to say that all the bits outside on my back patio are now back to being variegated. I'm just loving that. So I'm really glad that I took that little propagation. I'm just always conscious with these guys, making sure I'm giving them the right condition. But like I've said in previous videos, it doesn't take much. Epipremnum are pretty forgiving plants. It doesn't take much to keep these guys happy. That was a pretty extreme case where it just got so long, the vine just got so long growing down and literally there was just no light. So it just reverted back to green to try and maximize any light that it was absorbing. So as long as I'm giving these guys a decent amount of light, I haven't really had any trouble with them reverting. Oh, I haven't shown you any Monstera, mainly because of size. They're too big to bring in, but definitely your Monstera elbow is definitely one of them. Lots of Syngoniums on the list. So the elbow, the fantasy. Actually, I forgot to show you guys my green velvet. I do have one Syngonium that I bought to show you that I don't feel like also I've talked about very much on this channel. So this is my green velvet that is also unstable variegation. It was a wish list plant for me. It would catch my eye every time when I went to a nursery. A few of my planty friends had them. They would catch my eye at their house. And I bought this for myself. It might have been $10. It was a very cheap plant purchase, as most of my plant purchases are. And look, it's okay, but it's not thriving in my space. This is a water propagation of the original parent plant. It's also just going okay, not thriving. I've probably had this for about 6 months. I'm just at the stage with this plant of experimenting the right light and conditions for it. And look, it certainly hasn't reverted. I'm conscious we're talking about variegation in today's video, but it's not happy either. It might be a bit hard to see on camera, but see that the leaf more to the right is more faded. It's just not living its best life at the moment. So I'm still working on finding a happy place. I'll keep you updated on my green velvet. I didn't put it on the table because I feel like I've talked about it so many times to you guys. But my beautiful whale fin. Okay, I'm going to talk about it. Sorry guys, we're totally going to talk about it. Love this plant. It definitely looks painted, red around the outside. I've never had a whale fin before. I feel so confident normally with snake plants, but being a whale fin just makes me a bit nervous, knowing that this happens likely only about once a year. See how the edges got a little bit funky? When I first got it, I definitely didn't have it in the right light location, and I have had to tweak it a little bit, but it seems to be much happier with me and is shooting over behind me. So I'm just hoping that I keep it happy. It came from a really good backyard nursery though, so fingers crossed it came from good stock, because a lot of the times it can be genetics when it comes to these guys. I have so many plants around me, guys. I thought I'd do this one next, and then that way I can clear away all the plants that don't come under the stable category that we'll do last. So this is a Scindapsus. I'm calling it the Scindapsus Pictus, so the Satin Pothos, but I haven't taken the time to ID it properly because, as most of you probably know, there's a few different types. I got it as a clipping, also from Plant Club. Is anyone surprised? And the reason that I pulled this guy out for you is this is an example of reflective variegation. So it is stable variegation, but the color actually comes from not lack of chlorophyll, like the other variegation we just talked about with the unstable guys. This comes from air pockets underneath the top layer of the plant, and actually light reflecting through into those air pockets, which as a plant nerd, I just find that really, really interesting. And when I did the research, Scindapsus just kept coming up time and time again as the best example. And I was just lucky that I had this propagation growing. So I had to share that one with you. It's been a journey for me with these. I think I've shared the story only recently. I think the very first Satin Pothos that I got mustn't have been healthy. I got it when I was very new to plant, and it just never thrived for me. And eventually I put it in the compost bin. So this is now, I've got 2 of these, 2 cuttings from probably 3 probably 3 plant clubs ago, and they're both going really well. So I'm hoping that it was just that original plant that I got and not my care and not my house and environment. And maybe I can grow these guys because there is just something beautiful about the leaf. They are one of the plants, just like my micans, that I just keep wanting to go past and touch the leaves. I find them just absolutely beautiful. I just think they're a plant that the camera really doesn't do justice to until you see them in real life. So this is an example of reflective variegation caused by air pockets. How cool is that? So now we're onto the stable or pattern variegation. And these are the plants that I breathe a little bit more of a sigh of relief with. I don't know if you've also experimented with some of these guys, but depending on how much light you give the plant, the variegation will definitely be more vivid or less vivid, and fade or get brighter depending on how much light you give it. I am just loving on Tradescantia at the moment, which once again, just like the Epipremnum, you're probably sick of me talking about it, but this was a hitchhiker, as you probably know, that came in my oxalis. It was so tiny. I was trying to think, see this little leaf that's coming up from propagation there? It was so tiny, that was the size of the leaf in the oxalis. And I didn't know if it was a weed or a plant, and I just let it grow. And it's now turned into this, which I'm loving and I'm excited about. And then this was the little propagation that I took only a few weeks ago, and within 48 hours, it was rooting up. So I was now able to pot that up, and I'm hoping that will start trailing, because the one thing I hear about Tradescantia is people say that they can get a bit leggy and the pot can feel a bit empty. So I thought, well, I'll just keep, now I know that they propagate so quickly and so easily, I'll just keep filling this little pot up now. So absolutely loving these guys and loving that the colors are here to stay. Do you remember the clippings that I got in the mail last week that I showed you, the tricolored? Oh my goodness. The good old school Sabrina was making me smile, but this tricolor, wow, I can't wait till it gets bigger. Look at the roots. It's only been a week. Not even a week, I don't think. Can you see that? Whoops, hang on. Getting stuck. I've got one of these little test tube holders. I probably should have just held the whole thing up instead of trying to pull them out. But look at this, they've all taken. I wasn't sure. I ordered 3, and then if you remember, the lovely nursery gave me 4. I cut them all in half. So I've had multiple cuttings. So I'm thinking next week I'll pot these guys up. I love how tricolor plants just give you instant multicolors in one pot. It's pretty cool. Let's talk Aglaonema next. I was absolutely delighted when I found out that Aglaonema are stable variegation. I'm pretty new to Aglaonema, and so in my very short experience of growing them, I haven't had any reversion problems at all. This plant just hasn't even looked like it was going to revert on me. And that is the case. This actually is categorized as a stable variegation. Thank goodness, because wow, I am just loving this guy. Oh, check out this pot, guys. It was really dangerous on Sunday, the plant shack. I was catching up with a few of my friends from Plant Club, and they had a 20% sale, which is very rare. And I'd said, oh, look, I absolutely do not need any plants, of course, but happy to catch up for coffee. Well, they had 20% off pots as well, didn't they? Because, you know, ceramic pots can be quite pricey. So I got 3 pots about this size and 2 plants for $70, which is a lot for me to spend. I'm not good at spending, but I felt like I got a lot for that price as well. So much for, oh no, ladies, I don't need anything. I'm just here for coffee. So on the same day, one of my friends that I caught up for coffee with, she said, Mel, you love Aglaonema, don't you? And I said, oh yeah, absolutely. I'm really starting to appreciate them. And she said, oh, I've got one that just isn't loving my house. It's not happy. Would you like it? I'm about to do a plant clean out. Of course, I would love it. This actually prompted me to triple check that Aglaonema are definitely stable, because this felt like the sort of plant that could revert on me. But no, apparently, according to the internet, this color is staying. It is stable. So what are we today? So I've had it 6 days now, so nothing's happened on my watch yet, as you can imagine. I've just repotted it. I put it into my chunky mix. This is one of my new pots as well. I love this. The front of our house is rendered in a concrete render, and I thought, how cool is that? My planty friend that gave me this plant actually spotted this one from a distance and said, Mel, that pot is so new. I think this was $19 before the discount. This pot is so heavy and just really well made. It hasn't got a hole in the bottom, so it's perfect as a self-watering vessel. I've said to you guys before, ADHD brain, out of sight, out of mind. So I have to be really careful if I don't have the clear sources. But both of these guys are down on a coffee table on our front patio, and so I can see into them if they need water. So these are both pretty safe, having them in cover pot, and I'm really enjoying them. So that I don't get to the end of the video and completely forget, this is the other pot that I got. This was $24.95 before the discount. The mushrooms are raised. I think it looks really good on the buffet behind us, and I've just put one of my angel wing begonias in it. So these guys, by the way, part of the Stable Variegation Club as well. And also, before I forget, this is one of 2 plants that I got at the plant shack on the weekend. My husband loves bromeliads. He has a real soft spot for bromeliads. And I know this is not an indoor plant, this is a garden plant, but have you seen a bromeliad this color before? It was sitting by itself, and I thought I need to bring that home to him because if you've grown them before, they multiply in clumps. So that's just going to be a really nice pop of color in amongst our garden. I haven't looked it up because it's a garden plant. My experience with bromeliads is I've never had one revert on me. Their colors pop more definitely when you get the light right, but I've never had one completely lose its colors on me. So it'll be interesting. I'll have a look on the internet while I'm editing and I'll see if it's stable. But my guess is, just from my experience, that these guys are also part of the Stable Variegation Club. Look at that. He was so excited when I brought it home. And while we're going through the items that I bought at the plant shack, whilst trying to stay on track for stable variegation, this was the last little plant that I got at the plant shack. So this was the second plant. This is a Curly Sue spider plant. I've been wanting one of these for so long. I think they're so cute. But because I've already got spider plants, I've got them through Plant Club, I've got my parent plant, I'm drowning in spider plants. I just haven't been able to bring myself to spend money on these guys. This was $4.95 before the discount. So I spent $4 on it. And I would have put money on the fact that these guys are in the Stable Variegation Club, because out of all of my spider plants, I've never had trouble with them reverting on me. But apparently, according to the internet, if you just looked up stable and non-stable in a broad sense, they are considered a stable-ish plant, but there's a grey area. They're chimeric, but a stable chimeric. That's a lot for this video. Let's just know that these guys are actually in a grey area when it comes to stable and not stable. I love the fact that it's opposite in variegations. This is how it's inner variegated. Whereas my big parent plant and most of the propagations around my house are out of variegated. So it's also a nice contrast. I'm hoping that I can grow this up to be like one of my big parent plants. And then I can have lots and lots of, well, curly, but also inner variegated. Okay, 2 more plants to go because I think otherwise my dogs are going to thirst. It's funny, I feel like every time I record, I say to you guys, it's almost a walk time. I don't know what it is about the way that my day goes. I always plan around lunchtime to record the video, and then by the time I get around to it, it is almost a walk time. Every single time I record a video. So my poor dogs are walking around going, Mum, we're losing daylight, especially being winter. You know, the sun goes down so much faster. So 2 plants to go. Well, 2 types of plants to go. So firstly, oh, this one's a bit heavier than I thought. Firstly, Begonias, also part of the Stable Variegation Club. So for this guy, for the cane Begonias, this plant in particular, I've got 2 of these growing at the moment. One of them is in our main bathroom and it's getting a lot higher light than this. This one's in the ensuite, it's on a bit lower, it's a bit further away from the grow light, but it's still putting out these beautiful spots. I know they're so common these days, but there is just something about them that it doesn't matter. I just walk past and I need to smile at it. Both of my maculatas I was given as gifts from friends, and I just think they're just so lovely. So stable, but the variegated dots definitely come out more or less depending on how much light you give them. Although this guy is pretty forgiving, I have to say. And then I thought I'd bring out a Rex begonia because I have been playing with the colors on this as well. If Editing Mel remembers, I'm going to put a picture up here for you. What do they call it? Black Rising Star Begonia Rex Hybrid, or Begonia Rex Hybrid Black Rising Star. So have a look. See the variegation on that. Oh my goodness, the leaves on this. You just can't even imagine how velvety and beautiful. So I've been playing with the light on this plant because when I first got it, which I hope Editing Mel has put a picture up for you, the leaves were darker and the lime stripe was much more prevalent. So if you guys remember, this fell off the wall. So I had it in one of the wall hangers, it fell off. Surprised it's still alive, but it's come back more than ever. And as each of the leaves have come back, it's come back with less variegation than when I got it. And I thought, oh, I wonder if these revert. But no, they're stable variegation and it just very much is dependent on how much light I give it. I put it up closer to the grow light, but what it meant is some of the variegations come back, but now the leaves are more maroon. They're more maroon than the dark black that they were. I've decided that I actually preferred the blacker leaf and less variegation. That was fine with me because I thought they were looking absolutely stunning before they fell off the wall. They were probably about 30-40 centimeters lower away from the grow lights than what they were to do this. So I've actually moved them to that height because I've decided that I like the look of the black leaf more with the less green than I do the maroon with more green. So I'll keep you guys updated in these. So what are we in now? We're in June. So hopefully it'll well and truly be back to its stunning black self before Halloween, because I definitely think this needs to be one of my Halloween plants.
So last plant for today's video, and I really do feel like this is a plant that I just don't talk enough about in my videos. And I probably wouldn't have even put it in this video. As I say all the time, if you're getting bored of a plant or you're thinking, oh, I'm just not as in love with this plant as it used to, move it around or get it a new pot and see how you feel. And that is exactly what's happened with this Hoya. This is my OG Hoya carnosa, stable variegation. It's just got the slightest splash or freckles. I've never really looked up if it was a splash or a freckles. Can you guys see that? See, it's just got the finest little dots on it. The more light I give it, the more spectacular. So I've got a propagation of this, and it's actually closer to the grow lights than what this one has been. Its splashes are a lot more obvious than this one. But this one was in my propagation room, getting a fair amount of light. And I was just looking for another plant to put in the ensuite because I've just put another shelf in there. And I moved this, and it has just made the ensuite feel so much more jungle-like. I can't wait to share it with you in an update video. And I am loving on this plant again. I'm finding myself going into the ensuite just to look at this plant. So that's been really lovely because I think they are such beautiful, beautiful plants and just so underrated because, as we all know, Hoya carnosas are so common. My mum gave it to me. It's my very first taste of a Hoya, and I just think there's something to be appreciated about their ease of care and also the color of their leaves. Let me show you. What's the best leaf to show you? Yeah, this one probably is the best leaf to show you. It's so shiny, and then it's got those beautiful spots, and they are stable. But also light dependent. If you had a look at the propagation of this one, it has far, far more color. I was actually really surprised. It just so happened when I was doing a propagation of this one that I had a spot quite close to a grow light on the ladder in our bedroom. And I put it there, and when I take it down to water it, it is just amazing how much more prevalent the splashes are on the leaves on the one in the bedroom compared to this one. But I really feel like I should be talking about this plant a lot more because, wow, instant jungle, guys, instant jungle in my ensuite. Absolutely loving it and just delighted. I don't think Hoya is a plant that I talk enough about on my channel. I'm certainly not, they talk about Hoya heads and people that are just absolutely in love with Hoyas and they're all about Hoyas. I don't think I'll ever see myself being that person. I'm more about having a variety of plants that I love around me. They really are such a beautiful plant and fairly stable with their variegation as well. And while we're talking about Hoya, because I'm loving this one so much, one of my lovely friends from Plant Club is actually having, what did she call it? Something to do with a healthy mental health plant clean out. And she's putting a whole heap of her plants on Facebook Marketplace for very reasonable prices if anyone's in Brisbane. And she's given Plant Club people first dibs on the plants. And she has a Hoya. Actually, she didn't list what type of Hoya it is, but it hangs underneath her patio. It's $20, so that's in my, my $50 range. Its vine's actually about 2 meters long. It's not a carnosa by the pictures, and she hasn't said what type. I'll have to look it up for you guys when I get it. I cannot wait to get it. I think I'm going to put it out on my front patio. I have been looking for hanging a plant on our front patio, so I'm a little bit excited about picking another Hoya this week as well, guys. Anyway, that is the last of my stable variegated example plants to show you. And I'll also, editing Mel will do a little bit of extra research and put a few more examples for you guys up here as well, because I think it's really good when you're buying a plant if you understand that you're dealing with one that's maybe a little bit more random and potentially going to revert on you versus one that's a little bit more stable and the variegation may fade and get brighter, but it's not going to disappear on you. Just looking through my notes, I think we've covered everything, guys. If I miss anything important here, because there are 7 pages like I do for Plant Club, I'll just make sure I put B-roll up for you guys for anything important that I may have missed.
But that's it for today, guys. If you're still here, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, really appreciate you spending the time to hang out with me and talk about all things plants. I'm a small channel. I read every single one of your comments. So if you've got any plenty comments, please whack them in the comments below. They just make me smile so much. I absolutely love reading them after making each of my videos. And as usual, whatever you're up to this week, have an absolutely wonderful and planty week. And until my next video, guys, take care and remember you've totally got this.